Hello everyone, Father Scott Vanderveer here with another installment in this series on transitions. The reason why transitions feel so important to me right now is that on June 26th and 27th, I announced to the community that this fall I'll be taking on a new assignment at St. Mary's Church and School in Glens Falls, something I'm very excited about and very honored by, and something that feels like a tremendous loss since it means moving away from my beloved St. Patrick's in Ravena and St. Mary's in Coxsackie. Many of you watching this are members of our parishes here, and I wanted to talk with you in this installment a little bit about what this transition means and feels like, perhaps for you. I think any of us who are Catholic understand what I mean without any more explanation when I say, for us Catholics, when we love our priest, we love our priest. That term father is not just symbolic. It really does express this relationship that we have. It's family. It's a kind of spiritual connection that can't be summed up in words. And I think back to some of the priests that have had huge influences in my life. I think back to my childhood priest, Father McFarland. When he retired, when I was in 8th grade, although I wasn't tremendously close with him, I went through a huge period of mourning. It actually surprised me since I didn't know him all that well, but was very affected by his leaving. I had a very hard time when one of my greatest mentors, Father Jerry, retired from his parish where I grew in so much faith in 2001. In 2001, there was no YouTube. There was no way to stay in touch with anyone. I couldn't hear his voice anymore. His homilies were lost to me, and I just remember how difficult it was. My mentor, Father Jim, left his parish in 2018. It was devastating. It was one of the most difficult things I had ever been through. And I'm realizing I just said 2018. It's not true. It was 1998. That's how fresh it feels. Isn't that interesting that I said 2018? It was 1998. Oh my goodness. When Bishop Hubbard retired, oh my goodness. I could give you more and more and more examples, but you don't need them. If you're Catholic and you have loved your priest, you know. So I wanted to say that there is something important about recognizing what this system of ministry means, that priests are meant to come for a time and then move on to another assignment, what it means to be on constant mission, one place after another. I used to wonder if I was called to be a missionary, and I love the Maryknoll priests and sisters so much that I have often thought about that being perhaps the call that I had. Before I was a parish priest, I thought, could I be called to be a missionary? It turns out, though, that all of us are missionaries, because the Maryknoll way of looking at an assignment, which might be in Papua New Guinea, or in Taiwan, or in Bolivia, or in Mozambique. The way that Maryknoll looks at it is, you go to a place where you are needed but not wanted, and you stay there until you are wanted but not needed. I'm going to say that again. You go to a place where you are needed but not wanted, and you stay until you are wanted but not needed. Thank goodness my new assignment is not in Mozambique or in Taiwan. The distance would be heartbreaking. I intend to come back and enjoy this homeland of mine whenever I can, to make use of the deep connection I have to the land and the people here. But there's something really powerful about the fact that it is clear to the bishop, and it is clear to me, that these parishes, St. Patrick's and St. Mary's, are so beautifully strong and vibrant. They may wish for me, because we love each other, to stay. But I am no longer needed here. I so appreciate that I am wanted, and I want to be here too. But my call is not to be comfortable, it's to be faithful. So I have to go where I am needed. I know there are probably some folks from St. Mary's in Glens Falls watching, because they're wanting to meet their new pastor virtually if they can, and I say hello to you. One thing I will say very candidly that I think the people of Glens Falls would agree with, I can't know yet if I'm wanted. I can't know that yet. It might be very bad news to see Father Tom Moret go. He's a lovely man and a talented priest and has so many gifts to offer. I bet there's people that are feeling absolutely devastated, and they don't want some new whippersnapper. Who is this? And what do you mean he's not going to be here till the fall? We need somebody now. I can imagine all of the feelings that might be going through the hearts and minds of folks in Glens Falls. But I will say, when I get to Glens Falls, a place that is soon to be my home, I may not be wanted when I arrive. But because of the times we're in, because the priesthood shortage is what it is, because we live in 2021 with all the stresses and struggles of our societal crises, I am needed. So whether or not I'm wanted, I'm going to go where I'm needed. And I hope to stay for a long time, because transition's hard for me. But I know that when I'm wanted but not needed, I will be free to be a feather on the breath of God, as St. Hildegard of Bingen once said. Just be a feather on the breath of God, so that if God blows that way, you just flutter. And if God inhales, God can draw you right back. There is a parable from Africa that I think is very appropriate for transitions in parish life. It goes like this. When the bad leader leaves, people say, "Thank goodness." When the good leader leaves, people say, "Oh no, we're going to fall apart." When the great leader leaves, people say, "Now it's up to us. We are the ones that we've been waiting for." Do you hear that? There are people who are going to feel that because we have such a loving relationship, themselves and me, that the best way they can honor me as the priest that they love, as the pastor that they connect with, is to say, "Now we're going to fall apart. No one can be like you. We're not going to be able to be the same." And that's actually not a compliment. That is downgrading me from where I would like to be. I would like to be the best leader I can possibly be. But if you tell me that the parish is going to fall apart if I leave, you're saying that I'm just one step above a bad leader, because a bad leader makes you cheer when they go. And a great leader inspires you to carry on the legacy. It's a good leader, a just good and fine leader, that makes you say, "Well, let's fold up our tent and go." Do you see? It's so important that all of us recognize that the way we honor the leaders that we have connected with and appreciate so much is to carry on the work that is being done, not to fold up, not to say that it all depended on their personality, because that is exactly what we in the church are trying to get away from, is believing that it's the personality of an individual that is the center of our faith. The center of our faith is God, as God has been revealed in Jesus Christ. The center of our faith is the Spirit, God's Holy Spirit, that moves through us and encourages us to do what must be done. It is not our leaders that are the center. Our leaders are like a faucet. The leader's job is to turn on the flow and then allow what flows to go. You don't go to the faucet for the knob. You go for the flow. You go for the water. The leader opens the tap. That's the leader's job. And then the flow comes. So friends, I will be talking with you a little bit more in our next installment about what parish life could look like, how the structure is going to look a little bit different with fewer priests around the diocese and maybe in Greene County, and that'll be in the next installment. For now, just know how much I love you and I'm grateful for you and how eager I am to continue doing my best to live God's will one day at a time. God bless you all.